announced my pregnancy, and my sister-in-law tried to drag me down at my husband's party. Turns out, she screwed herself straight into jail and a divorce. For the past 7 years, I have been married to Harry. While I love everything about our marriage, the relationship with his sister Kayla has brought nothing but negativity into our lives. When I first met Kayla, I really liked her. But over time, my feelings changed. She's toxic, manipulative, and extremely negative. Aware of the kind of person she is, I've worked hard to stay on her good side. Harry once dated Kayla's best friend when he was 17, but the relationship ended because he felt pressured by Kayla. When he was 23 and single again, she tried to set him up with another one of her friends, but he disagreed. Kayla cried to their parents about wanting him to marry someone she was comfortable with, but they barely listened. While Harry and I were falling in love, his parents were supportive, but Kayla remained distant. She would often bring up Harry's exes for no reason, reminding him of how well they were doing, and even suggesting he reconnect with them. This went on for a while, and Harry found it odd. He asked her to stop talking about his exes, but it didn't stop there. Kayla would get angry and accuse me of being jealous, claiming Harry shouldn't be with someone like me. She would also invite Harry's exes to family gatherings, pretending it was by chance, but we both knew otherwise. Even though she doesn't follow me on Instagram, she watches my stories regularly, and is usually the first one to view them. If a man commented on my photos, she would complain to Harry about how I was posting inappropriate pictures of myself. Harry and I would laugh it off, but things escalated when she persuaded him to break up with me. She told him I was full of flaws, and that he could find someone better than me. This was hurtful. Kayla's behavior worsened after Harry and I got engaged. Everyone celebrated our engagement, but Kayla seemed quiet. Then, to everyone's surprise, she suddenly stood up and stormed out. Later, she called Harry, crying and yelling about how she should have been the first to know since she felt closest to him. She then messaged me, almost threatening, about how I should treat her brother. Her message was strange and unsettling, and I ignored it, which probably upset her even more. From then on, Kayla started to ignore me more and more. She inserted herself into every aspect of the wedding, like when I went dress shopping or had my bridal shower. Even though Harry's mother and I called her out on it, she continued to criticize the wedding, even attacking my choices. One day, she overheard me discussing the centerpiece with my future mother-in-law and immediately started mocking me, saying my choices lacked class. She said it was the reason she wanted Harry to marry someone better than me. That was the last straw. I told her she wasn't invited to our wedding and yelled at her for her constant taunting. She looked shocked, as if she never expected me to stand up to her. Kayla was furious, and later she called Harry, complaining that I embarrassed her and demanding he control me. Harry was firm, telling her he supported my decision and she wouldn't be invited if she didn't change her attitude. She grudgingly sent me an apology, which I ignored. I was exhausted from preparing for the wedding and didn't want any more drama. In the end, Kayla did attend the wedding, but her behavior was ridiculous. She showed up wearing a black floor-length gown with a veil, as though she was attending a funeral. We were all stunned. Throughout the reception, she shared how devastated she was to lose her brother to another woman. When Harry confronted her about her attire, she argued that she had the right to wear whatever she wanted, accusing me of being controlling. She continued to play the victim, and eventually my in-laws asked her to leave. It was embarrassing for me, and since that day, I've kept my distance from her. I also made it clear that Kayla was not welcome near our child when I gave birth to my son, Nate. She tried to protest, but my in-laws supported my decision. They understood why I wanted her to stay away from my baby. Kayla had suffered a miscarriage with her then-boyfriend Jamie 2 years ago, which deeply affected her. It was indeed a very sad period, especially with Harry and me trying to have a baby ourselves. We sympathized with her and chose to be more lenient after her miscarriage. We let her connect with our son, Nate, and despite her behavior with me, she was surprisingly sweet toward mine. It seemed like she had changed at first, but over time she reverted to her old self. She constantly complained about how difficult her life was, blaming ex-friends or managers for her misfortunes. Over time, I realized she never saw herself as the problem in any situation. She always played the victim and rarely took responsibility for her actions. This year, she decided to get married and invited everyone. But to Harry's surprise, we didn't receive an invite. When we questioned her about it, she explained that she didn't want me there because I might cause a disturbance at her wedding. I called her to ask why she felt that way, and she said it was because I had worn all black to our wedding. She feared I might do the same for hers, and that was why she didn't want me at the ceremony. I told my husband straight away how manipulative she was. After discussing it with his parents, Harry decided to let Kayla know that they would not attend the wedding or contribute to the cost. Kayla broke down in tears, blaming me for starting this whole issue. Her husband Jamie stepped in and told her she had no right to blame me, as she had admitted to her mistake. Kayla tried to justify her actions by telling me I should just move past it, since our wedding was in the past. Later, she messaged me asking for forgiveness, saying her in-laws still wouldn't fund her wedding. As much as I dislike her behavior, Kayla can be quite persuasive when she wants something. I wanted to move forward and put the past behind us, so I forgave her. Her wedding to Jamie went smoothly, and we all attended and had a good time. However, not even 6 months later, Kayla showed up at our door complaining about her marriage falling apart. For a few days, Harry and I let her stay with us, where she vented endlessly about her husband. They were struggling to conceive, and Kayla blamed Jamie for everything. When I spoke to her, she insisted it was entirely his fault, and she became obsessed with our lives, trying to make up problems where there were none. For example, I usually go to the gym in the mornings before work. On days when I'm running late, I sometimes grab my work clothes to finish my workout, take a quick shower, and change at the gym. Kayla noticed this and started asking many questions about it, like why I was bathing or why I even needed to go to the gym. I didn't think much of it, and explained I liked to maintain my weight and didn't want to show up to the office all sweaty. She'd just nod and lick her lips, which made me uncomfortable. During lunch one day, my mother-in-law shared a story about a friend of hers who was divorcing her husband after he cheated. Kayla immediately interrupted and asked my husband if we had signed a prenup before we got married. We stared at her in surprise, and my husband told her straightforwardly that we didn't need one as we both made good money and didn't feel it was necessary. Kayla scoffed and said my husband could be blindsided any day, with cheaters everywhere. Her comments offended me, so I asked her to clarify what she meant. She then started implying that I was meeting someone else because I always carried a change of clothes, and as Harry's sister, it was her duty to warn him. These were shocking remarks from Kayla. My in-laws arrived just in time to stop her from continuing to spread such things and advised her not to interfere with other people's matters. Without missing a beat, Kayla kept insisting that she was only trying to be there for her brother, but then she began jokingly asking if our son Nate was really Harry's because he didn't look much like him. I swear I've never seen my husband this enraged before. He looked Kayla straight in the eye and told her that she wasn't even a mother yet, nor did she deserve to be one. He said her child would be better off in paradise than with someone like her. Kayla was left in stunned disbelief, while my in-laws just watched silently. My husband went on, calling Kayla a shameless person, accusing her of trying to ruin everything because her life had nothing to offer, and said she was merely a loser who did nothing all day while her husband worked nonstop. He kept telling her that since she was projecting her issues onto others, she should focus on her own marriage instead of pointing fingers at me. Kayla broke down into tears, expecting comfort, and turned to Jamie sitting next to her, but he didn't say a word. My husband, still boiling over, left Kayla, calling her out for being a troublemaker. I was relieved that he stood up for me so publicly. He apologized to Jamie, but completely ignored Kayla. After things cooled down, we had no further interaction with Kayla. Her behavior was clearly affecting both me and my husband. We decided to keep her away from everything, and she didn't contact us for a year. Things were peaceful until 2 months ago when I discovered I was pregnant, which was a happy surprise for us. We waited for the right moment to share the news, and my husband's birthday seemed perfect for it. On that day, Harry's parents were hosting a celebration, inviting close friends and family. Kayla showed up after hearing about the gathering. When we saw her, my husband and I were taken aback. She greeted him warmly, saying how much she missed him and how sorry she was for their last conversation. Taking my hand, Harry advised his sister to apologize to me for how she had criticized my character. Kayla nodded, looked at me, and apologized. She told me she'd been going to therapy for the past few months and had realized how inappropriate her behavior had been. Although I didn't agree with everything she said, I nodded politely since it was my husband's celebration. My in-laws made sure to check in and assured us that if we felt uncomfortable, they would remove her from the party. But Harry insisted on not making a scene, so we decided to let it go. It seemed strange, though, as Kayla was laughing and socializing with everyone during the celebration. She mentioned therapy again, so I decided to give her the benefit of the doubt, even though she seemed unusually cheerful, certainly not her usual self. Harry spoke lovingly about how lucky he was to have another year with a woman like me. When it came time to cut the cake, I felt a rush of happiness, remembering how in love we still were, just as we were when we first started dating. Then, Harry and I decided it was time to share our fantastic news. We smiled and announced that we were expecting a baby. Everyone paused for a moment, then burst into cheers. My mother rushed to hug me and cried, while Harry's father gave us a heartfelt salute, tears streaming down his face. Everyone was eager to know if we had picked out baby names, and they were clearly thrilled for us. But Kayla, once again, stood out like a sore thumb. She looked stunned, and her mood immediately changed. She turned away from us and appeared irritated. I thought she might be processing things slowly, but I also had a feeling she might ruin the moment like she always did. I got distracted by guests coming to chat, and my in-laws urged me to stay seated, telling me not to move. At that moment, Kayla approached me, beaming with excitement about my pregnancy. She said she wanted to serve me dinner to make up for all the times she had been unpleasant to me in the past. She handed me a dish and even told me that she was sorry for her past behavior. I nodded politely and accepted the plate, but when I was about to start eating, I realized she had put shrimp on my dish. I'm allergic to shrimp, and I was shocked that Kayla would serve me something I can't eat. Disappointed, I shook my head and stood up to get my own meal. Jamie came over to wish me well on my pregnancy, and after a brief conversation, he asked why I hadn't eaten. When I explained that Kayla had given me shrimp, he reassured me not to worry, took the dish from my hands, and said he'd have it while I got a fresh plate. However, minutes later, Jamie suddenly started gagging and stumbling out of his seat. Everyone stopped eating, and there was a wave of concern as he gestured to his plate, then pointed to his throat. We all stared, realizing something was seriously wrong. Jamie collapsed, and everyone gasped in fear. Kayla rushed over to check his plate, and her eyes widened in shock. She turned to me and asked if I had given her husband my plate. I nodded, and someone called an ambulance immediately. Jamie was rushed to the hospital, and, amidst the chaos, Kayla sobbed uncontrollably while glaring at me. Later, we were told that Jamie had been poisoned, and it was confirmed that the dish he had eaten originally belonged to me. My heart nearly stopped. I was horrified to think that the food might have poisoned both Jamie and my unborn child, though nobody knew what was in the food that caused his collapse. The police were called to investigate, and Jamie is still recovering in the hospital as I write this. Kayla stayed with him overnight, and our relatives have been calling to check on him and asking who might have poisoned him. Harry and I have been fielding these calls, and my in-laws are staying with us too, because they're afraid to return to their own house. As I'm reflecting on everything, the fact that Kayla presented me with the plate has me terrified. If this turns into an investigation, I'll have to tell the truth. Most importantly, I'm deeply concerned about what she could do to me in the future. I don't want to be around her anymore, and I can't bring my kids near her after what happened. I feel guilty for even letting Jamie take the plate, knowing the potential danger it posed. Update 1. Wow, I'm overwhelmed by the thousands of comments I've received in just a few hours. I never expected this many responses. I typed this earlier with shaking hands and haven't been able to sleep. While I do feel somewhat responsible for what happened with Jamie, I should have just thrown the dish away instead of letting him take it. I keep thinking about his future, knowing what happened. My husband has been staying close to me, though he doesn't know what I know about his sister. He thinks I'm just worried. A lot of people suggested I should sit down and talk to everyone, but I'm not sure if they'll believe me. My in-laws have security cameras all around the house, so they could check and confirm that Kayla gave me the plate. I'm going to speak to everyone tonight and update you all. Update 2. We then chatted, and I feel so lucky to have the kindest in-laws on earth. My mother-in-law and father-in-law are already staying with us, so I sat down with Harry and them over dinner to share something important. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the situation pressing on me, as everyone gathered around. I began by explaining everything that had happened at the birthday party, including how Kayla handed me a plate with prawns, and how Jamie had unintentionally eaten it, causing his illness. Their shock and disbelief mirrored my own as I spoke. My mother-in-law and father-in-law exchanged looks, clearly worried. Harry's face shifted from uncertainty to pure rage. I continued, expressing my concern about Kayla's intentions and her past attempts to hurt me. Faced with the potential consequences for myself and our unborn child, I hesitated to share such a heavy burden. But my pragmatic mother-in-law immediately advised that we check the security camera footage, given the seriousness of the situation. My father-in-law nodded in agreement, though he was clearly unsettled. Harry remained silent, processing the shocking information. We reviewed the footage from their security cameras, and the truth became undeniable. The video showed Kayla handing me the poisoned plate, and then what happened afterward, which caused Jamie's suffering. The evidence left no room for doubt. As the gravity of the situation sank in, emotions ran high. Now fully aware of his sister's malicious intentions, Harry struggled to control his anger. My in-laws were horrified by Kayla's actions, and the extent to which she'd gone to cause harm was deeply shocking. In stunned silence, we tried to understand why she would behave in such a way. Given the seriousness of the matter, my in-laws decided to forward the footage to the police. After the disclosure, Jamie is the one who has to press charges against Kayla, so my father-in-law and Harry will meet with him once he recovers. Every time I think about letting Jamie have my poisoned dish, I feel like crying. I have no idea how Jamie will react, and I'm very anxious about it. I can't eat or sleep properly right now, but I'll keep you updated on any important developments. Update 3. Alright, I'm back with an update at last. I know it's been a month since my last update, but right now I'm a pregnant woman going through a lot. First things first, Kayla was detained after my in-laws handed the recording to the police. Kayla admitted everything immediately and didn't even try to deny it. She started crying. Jamie was as startled as any of us when my husband approached him about what had happened, telling him he would always be part of our family, regardless of what he chose to do. Harry advised him to press charges against his sister, as what she did was truly wicked. Once Jamie recovered, he not only chose to pursue charges, but also sought a divorce. In the meantime, Kayla called my mother-in-law and father-in-law, begging for them to forgive her. As it turns out, Kayla is pregnant herself. She tried to manipulate them by saying they should help her for the sake of their granddaughter, begging them to bail her out. But my father-in-law strongly advised her that she should finally take responsibility for her actions, and that they were done coddling her. Although my mother-in-law is deeply upset about what has happened to her daughter, she knows Kayla's actions cannot simply be forgiven. The police found evidence that Kayla had tampered with the meal meant for me, which backfired and resulted in injury to her husband. She's been charged with several offenses, including endangering life, causing harm, and tampering with food. She tried to blame everything on me, but Jamie is firm on pressing charges, and her court hearing is coming up soon. I highly doubt she'll be able to escape this time. As for me, my son and I are doing okay. To everyone asking about what Kayla has done, our son has no idea. We want him to grow up without knowing about these circumstances, so Harry and I have decided we'll sit down with him and tell him the truth when he's older. Having this difficult conversation with a young child will be challenging, but it's important. As per my doctor's instructions, I have regular ultrasounds every 2 weeks. We want the pregnancy to be a surprise, so we aren't planning to find out the gender. Given what's happened with Kayla, my parents have been more protective of me. They're encouraging me to seek therapy, as they're concerned this might affect my mental health during the pregnancy. I agree with them. Although I'm behaving normally, I have a deep-rooted fear about what Kayla did to my food, and I'm now avoiding eating outside food or anything I haven't prepared myself. I hope my husband will help me overcome this fear, as he knows about it and supports me through it. Update 4. It's been 8 months since my last update. Kayla is now in prison. She was found guilty of the charges, though I never attended her court hearings. Occasionally, my in-laws would update me, telling me how Kayla came clean in court, admitting to years of jealousy toward me. She had always dreamed of one of her best friends marrying Harry, and when he started dating me, she harassed me because she didn't want anyone else marrying her brother. She became furious when we announced our pregnancy at Harry's birthday party, as she was also planning to reveal her pregnancy. She felt we stole her opportunity to shine, and the mix of pregnancy hormones and jealousy led her to add rat poison to my food. She said she never wanted to hurt me or the baby physically, but just wanted me to end up in the hospital. She even pleaded for a reduced sentence, claiming she didn't expect me to give her husband the poisoned plate, and that it was my fault he got poisoned. The judge, however, didn't accept her plea, and she was sentenced to prison, where she'll be out of our lives for a long while. Jamie is finally free, having also effectively divorced her. We've seen him over the months and have continued to include him in family events whenever we can. He reassured me that it was never my fault, and when I apologized to him for giving him my plate, he said I didn't need to apologize. I've replayed that moment in my mind countless times, wishing I could have done things differently, so Jamie never ended up poisoned. I started to cry, but hearing that Jamie is doing well now makes me happy. As for Harry and me, our family is growing. We now have a baby daughter, and her presence has truly brightened our lives. Despite the shadows of the past, our son Nate is very happy to be a big brother. He's been so loving and caring toward his little sister. Watching our kids connect has made us appreciate everything even more. My parents and in-laws have been there for us every step of the way, guiding us through this new chapter of our lives. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on more shocking real-life stories happening around you.